What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to this multi-time frame Forex forecast. Before we get started, I do want you guys to not only like this idea, but also comment other pairs that you want us to cover in the future as well. Not only does it support this channel and the profile on TradingView, but it also gives others the opportunity to see this type of content as well. That being said, we can go straight into it. This time, I'm going to go back to what I usually do, and that's just revealing some of the objects and explaining more or less what I was seeing. So let's just start revealing some of the objects and kind of explain what was going on when I was doing my analysis. So I've actually been covering pound AUD for a while, over the past, I don't know, I say month, and it finally started coming into fruition within the last week or so, and we can show you more or less where I could see it going, what to do, and how you can still capitalize on this potential opportunity. So at first, what I want to do is on the monthly time frame is just quickly highlight relevant areas that have structure. So what I did here was based on this area of structure, which was tested 1, 2, 3 times, as you can see here. It was also coinciding with this 61 fib, which, as you guys know, is one of the golden fib levels within the Fibonacci ratio itself. So that's why I had marked this one out as the 61 fib plus some structure on the monthly time frame. And then what I also did is I noticed that there were several trends, and it created a channel. Actually, you can see that it got marked here, 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 and here. So that's 3, 4, 5, 5 different times that this trend line was tested, which is signifying that this area is significant itself. So that is why I decided to show you guys this trend. Same thing was going on here. We had some resistance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did have a breakout, and I'll talk more about this area later on. But after we had that breakout, yeah, actually, I'll just wait. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So what I wanted to do is, if this breakout was serious, that is, it was a confirmation on the lower time frames, and that there was going to be a push towards this upper limit, then we would be using this area of structure as our next TP, essentially. So you can see this was the 88 fib level plus the monthly structure on the monthly time frame. So I'll just show you real quick. It aligns beautifully with the 88 fib level, and as you can see, this was the closing of this monthly leg as well. So that's why we decided to use this as a reference point for our TP, assuming price did continue on this breakout. And that's exactly what we had talked about. So what I want to do is outline this area of support as well, because as you can see, not only was it resistance 1, 2 times, but it was also support 1, 2, 3 times. So this area is significant in that price does respect this area multiple times. And as you can see here, this does end up being our first take profit, with there being significant structure on the monthly time frame, as you guys saw here. And then based on that, assuming that this area was the resistance area, which I talked about over the last month, and it turned out to be true, what I wanted to do was actually create a target point. So you can see right here that aligns perfectly with the 127 fib as well. And that is why I decided to make this area our second take profit, as you can see here, which is the 127 fib level. So the reason why I have this area as TP1 is because of this major area of structure. It could be leading to the possibility of showing signs of resistance and support on this particular area, which would mean that you would need to close it out manually. Now, if it does end up reaching this area, as in it breaks through this descent or ascending trend line, then that has a high probability of you being in a break-even point already. So it doesn't necessarily matter. You can close it out manually. I would prefer to do that. Some profit is better than no profit if it is showing signs of reversal. However, because you're going to be in a break-even position, you can choose to try to make it towards the TP2, but no need to be greedy, and I'll show you why in just a second. So this is pretty much what I had anticipated for the last couple of months. And this is what I wrote out. I said, if this area showing a bullish continuation has good legs to make it up to this 88% fib structure. And in that instance, we would look for a confirmation on the lower time frame so that we can make it up towards this area of support. Once again, going our 1 to 2 minimum risk reward ratio, preferably 1 to 3. However, if it does continue to respect this area as resistance, then we were going to be looking at for shorts towards the 127 fib of TP2, and then monitoring price towards the TP1. So this is kind of what I had going on over the last couple of months. If you go back to the profile on TradingView, you can see that we have talked about this pair in this particular setup exactly several weeks prior, and it turns out to be true. So what's going on right here is we're actually already in a break-even position because structures below our price point. So you could see that right now we're at a 1 to 3.38 risk to reward ratio. So that being said, it's already at a break-even point. So it's infinite risk reward ratio because we're at break-even, actually placing it a little bit below our entry position so that we can cover some fees as well, the fees and commission associated with the trade. So if we go down to the weekly time frame, you can actually see this channel a little bit better. And that being said, because this channel itself is also significant and it's been respected multiple times as we saw previously, this channel itself could potentially act as support. And based on the way it's actually moving, we could eventually see this channel showing some resistance. Showing some resistance around this level as well, because it does line up with the 78 fib, which also lines up with our ascending trend line as well. So this area could be showing potential support, and if this area does tend to be, if this area continues to be significant in structure, then there's a high probability that it's going to bounce from here going back towards our break even point. And in that instance, if you are seeing signs of reversal towards this area, you are already in a break even position, so it's okay if you want to take that risk. However, I think that some profit is better than no profit. And just real quick, I wanted to show you more or less. Where did you go? What this would look like. So this is not the ideal risk reward ratio. We want to make sure that we're risking. Um, we have a risk reward ratio of 1 to 2. So this one falls a little bit short if it does end up showing resistance in this ascending trend line. However, because we're at this break-even point, there's an exception for this instance. But I would still prefer that you try to wait to go towards TP1 and really monitor this area because it could be showing support and being respected. Therefore, I would just recommend you closing out manually. However, because we're at a break-even point, we do have an exception, and we can actually try to go towards TP1, assuming it breaks out and then it shows this area on a retest as resistance. So basically what you would be needing to see is a good breakout here, coming up with a retest, testing this area as resistance, and then falling down. So if that actually does occur and we get price falling below this trend line, and we see a retest confirming that it is broken through that trend line and it wasn't just a false breakout like what we saw here, then we can actually just let it go towards TP1. Otherwise, I would recommend just closing it out because you should be at a risk-free position already. So anyways, this is a pound AUD. And if you have been looking through our channel, you can see that we've been doing several of these different type of analysis on multiple different pairs. You can see that CAD Jappy is one that I'll be reviewing soon because it's about to enter an entry zone. Pound Swiss franc is already at a break-even point for us because we've been on this one. And then Euro Pound is another one that's at a break-even point. I've been calling these ones for the last couple of weeks, and they're finally came into fruition. And we have New Zealand, which is about to hit stop loss, and then USD CAD, which is about to enter towards our entry position. So this is a pound AUD multi-time frame analysis. If you guys like this video, once again, like this idea, comment other pairs that you want us to cover in future, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.